wide receiver U. Every fan base claims that their school is wide receiver U, but only one can hold the throne. So who really deserves the crown in modern football? For this debate, we're looking at 2010 and beyond. That gives us a clearer scope of who's shaping the NFL today and not yesterday. But if we're talking all time, I have to shout out the U, Miami. Reggie Wayne and Andre Johnson both ranked top 11 all-time in receiving yards, both of them with over 14,000 career receiving yards. Then you have Hall of Famers Michael Irvin and Devin Hester. Not to mention Santana Moss with 10,000 plus yards for his career. The Canes were legendary and they deserve our respect. But I digress. It's time to talk modern football. Let's run through the true contenders. First up, Ole Miss. And somehow they had DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, and Elijah Moore all on the same team. AJ Brown had back-to-back 1,400 yard seasons in 2022 and 2023. DK Metcalf has never had a season under 900 yards since entering the league. Add in Mike Wallace, who yes, was drafted in 2009, but he did most of his damage in the 2010s with 8,000 plus career yards. That allows the Rebels to sneak into the conversation. It may not be the deepest group, but when your top two wide receivers are DK Metcalf and AJ Brown, you've got a serious case. Heading west, USC has quietly built one of the deepest pipelines in the nation. Nelson Aguilar, Jordan Addison, Robert Woods, who has over 8,000 career yards, Juju Smith-Schuster, who boasts a 1,400-yard season and a Super Bowl ring. Michael Pittman is holding down wide receiver 1 duties and hasn't had the steadiest quarterback play, but the talent is next level. And that leaves Drake London and Amon-Ra St. Brown. London broke out in 2024 with 100 catches for 1,200 yards. Amon-Ra, he's done nothing but stack 3 straight 100-catch seasons and is already in that top 10 wide receiver tier. This duo finished 4th and 5th in receiving yards last season. Talk about remarkable. The future is bright, and with USC's combination of depth and wide receiver 1 level talent, they make a serious argument. Now we enter Clemson, and this is where it gets a lot of fun. Ray McLeod, Hunter Renfrow, Martavis Bryant, Adam Humphries, Mike Williams, who led the league in yards per catch at 20.4 in 2019. You have Sammy Watkins, and maybe he wasn't the star many expected long term, but he was electric in college and he was a pivotal piece in the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory in 2020. This leads us to DeAndre Hopkins, who surpassed 13K receiving yards this season. That puts him 21st all-time in career receiving yards. We're talking about a generational talent. Add in T. Higgins, who's easily a wide receiver 1 if he wasn't sharing the field with Jamar Chase. And let's not forget, the 2012 Clemson Tigers had DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, Martavis Bryant, Adam Humphries, and Jaron Brown on the same team. That's 5 future NFL receivers in the same room. Absolutely stacked, and drives home how serious of a contender Clemson is for wide receiver U. Ohio State might be the biggest challenger for wide receiver U right now. Sure, they've had role guys like Paris Campbell, Noah Brown, Curtis Samuel, even Ted Ginn. And yes, he was drafted before the cutoff, but he was also Cam Newton's best wide receiver on that 2015 Super Bowl team. Mix in Brian Hartline as well, who had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in 2012 and 2013. But the stars, this is where Ohio State makes a name for themselves. So let's start with Michael Thomas, once a top 3 receiver in football who led the league in 2019 with 149 receptions and 1,725 yards. Terry McLaurin has had 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons and has never had a season below 900 yards. Garrett Wilson, just 3 straight 1,000-yard years to start his career. And he did that with Zach Wilson, Mike White, and Trevor Siemian at quarterback at times. Seriously, he's even better than the numbers show. Chris Olave opened his career with a back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons as well. He had an injury play 2024, but he's young and he's aiming to pick things back up where he started. Jaxon is fresh off a 100-catch, 1,100-yard season, and now he cemented himself as the wide receiver 1 in Seattle. Marvin Harrison Jr. was the top wide receiver taken in 2024, and we all saw how good he was in college. And then we have Emeka Egbuka, who was the first rounder as well, and lit up week 1 catching 2 touchdowns in his first career game, one of them being a game winner. Oh, and the 2021 Buckeye wide receiver room? That's just Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jaxon, Harrison Jr., and Egbuka. That's 5 first rounders on the same roster. I don't know that that's ever been done before, and that receiver room alone might just make Ohio State wide receiver U. Before Julio Jones, Alabama wasn't even in this conversation. The last thing that Alabama was known for was wide receivers. Since Julio, they've turned into a full-blown wide receiver factory. Julio Jones set the standard with over 13,700 career yards. He also claims the third best single season ever with 1,871 yards in 2015. He's arguably top 3 all-time. I'll debate that till the day I die. Amari Cooper followed that up with 10,000 plus career yards as well, something only 57 players in NFL history have ever achieved. And then we add in Calvin Ridley, who adds a 1,300-yard season back in 2020 and sits at 5,000 career yards. Then came one of the wildest wide receiver rooms we've ever seen. 2019 Alabama featured DeVonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Jaylen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, and John Mechie. That's 4 first-round picks and a second-rounder in the same draft class. I won't speak on Henry Ruggs much, but he was the first wide receiver picked in that 2020 draft class. Jerry Jeudy finally got a quarterback last season and broke out with a 1,200-yard season, good for 6th in the NFL. Jaylen Waddle opened his career with 3 straight 1,000-yard years, including 1,300 plus in 2022. DeVonta Smith is a national champion, catching the walk-off touchdown back in 2018. A Heisman winner, a Super Bowl champ, and has 4,000 yards in his first 4 seasons. Jameson Williams is emerging as well, coming off his first 1,000-yard season. Alabama rivals Ohio State for sheer volume, and both wide receiver classes are young enough that this can be a debate that shapes the next decade. But the Julio Jones-Amari Cooper duo gives them something other schools can't rival, and that puts Alabama as a top candidate. And finally, LSU. LSU may not have the quantity that other schools have, but man do they have the quality. Starting with Jarvis Landry, who has nearly 8,000 career yards and multiple 100 reception seasons. And his teammate Odell Beckham Jr. was top 3 in the league at his peak with 3 straight 1,300-yard years to start his career, and that iconic 2015 season with 1,450 yards. One of the best catches of all time, and at his peak, it was him, Julio, and Antonio Brown in every single wide receiver debate. He also helped the Rams win their Super Bowl before he got injured that game. And then we get to the monsters, Justin Jefferson and Ja'Marr Chase. Justin Jefferson has never had under 1,000 yards in a season. Even in 2023 when he played just 10 games, he still hit that mark. His 2022 season is legendary and one of the greatest wide receiver seasons of all time, when he dropped 1,809 yards, good for 6th most in NFL history. Ja'Marr Chase, 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons to start his career, including 1,455 yards as a rookie and 1,708 yards last year, good for 14th all-time in a season. Together, this duo is the best 2 wide receivers in football, 1A and 1B, and it's not even close. And the crazy part is that LSU isn't even finished. They do this thing where every 4 or 5 years they produce insane wide receiver duos. Juice and Odell Beckham, Jefferson and Chase, and Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas Jr. They just entered the league and they already look like top 10 wide receivers. Nabers finished 7th in yards, and it's not like he had stellar QB play last season. Thomas finished with 1,282 yards, good for 3rd in the league, as a rookie. I'm sure a few more years from now they'll produce 2 more elite level talents to add to their repertoire. But if we're talking quality, no one, and I mean no one, compares to the top level production that LSU has produced at the wide receiver position since 2010. So with all that being said, who's wide receiver U? If you're talking pure numbers, Alabama and Ohio State make a compelling case. The depth is insane. Another year of breakout seasons from Waddle, Smith, Jeudy, Olave, Wilson, Jaxon, and either of these schools could swing this crown. Right now I lean Alabama because they have Julio and Amari Cooper, but I think Ohio State's young core is more talented than Alabama's, and it wouldn't shock me if we look back and Ohio State has 3 or 4 10K receivers. It'd be hard to argue how they wouldn't be wide receiver U at that point. But right now, the answer is LSU, and I don't think it's close, especially if Jettas and Chase continue to be the best in the league and Nabers and Thomas decide to run up the score along with it. Quantity matters, but quality wins out, and no school has ever produced this many elite wide receivers at the same time. Just how elite? Well, last season the top 3 receivers in receiving yards were Ja'Marr Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Brian Thomas Jr. Number 7, Malik Nabers. So that's it. That makes LSU the true wide receiver U. Final answer.